Okay, what a treat for you guys today. We have a writer-director, Joe Carnahan. You will know him from Smokin Aces, Narc, The Gray, and one of my recent favorites, Boss Level. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Geoffrey. Thanks for having me, man. That's quite an intro. I think
It's your filmography, man.
yeah.
I actually liked Boss Level so much I did a film analysis on this show. Just a little FYI. Yeah,
Yeah. How do I not know about this, brother? You gotta like I
dude,
gotta that's fantastic. It's dude, you know what it is?
it's so great.
It's one of those, it's funny, man, because it's as we have this interview. Last night I just showed Rip for the first time, and it kind of I've never had a film score like it scored. Like it really did well. And beforehand I was like, listen, I can't get caught up in this. And up until that moment I would have said Boss Level is my favorite. It's just like it's the movie I just loved making. It's my Raiders, which is the movie that when I saw it as a kid really made me want to make films. So I really,
That's
you know,
awesome.
and Frank always says his performance was, he says, I was just doing an impersonation of Joe. It's so underrated, dude, and so good and so
It really
unexpectedly,
is.
the kind of the turn that it takes and the way that we actually hit that note. And that's a very difficult thing to do, to kind of have a movie that tonally works that way. But I'm so glad you dig it, dude. It's just it's
Oh,
one of those
man.
movies, dude, that, it's like there are filmmakers, dude, that I want their bank account, but I want my movies. I don't want
That's
their
hilarious.
want their money. I don't want their movies. But yeah.
I mean, I watched it and I called my team and said, we gotta do film analysis. It's brilliant.
Oh, man.
And I don't want to harp on this too long, but the midpoint, like what I call like the death and rebirth or the all is lost moment, amazing. I don't want to spoil it, but just him in bed for all of that, I was like, yes, I identify 100% with this man.
Just getting chopped up. He doesn't even
Yeah,
how many more
it's
do you
so
live?
good.
And he's like, just end it. Just get it over with.
Yes.
I'm done.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I've been there.
Yeah.
So
Oh, as
yeah.
have I. As have I. Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got a new film coming out called Shadow Force. It's got
Yes.
Omar Sy in it, Kerry Washington, Mark Strong. What a cast! Can you kind of walk me through this film and like its birth and
Well,
I
it's
think
interesting.
Leon Chills wrote it.
Yeah. Leon Chills did a version of it. And it's so funny. I said, this is Hollywood. Dude. Leon and I have yet to cross paths. I hope I see him at the premiere so I can shake his hand.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So he did a draft of it, and then I was kind of brought on to kind of do my thing. And I kind of identified, to me, there was like a core, like, okay, you have a family of these two people have chosen, to kind of, well, I'm going to, Carrie's character, I'm going to kind of sit and overwatch and protect us, because I know that, maybe 5 years they're going to hunt us. And then maybe they let us, after that, we kind of disappear into and I know that this movie, this Cameron Diaz, Jamie Foxx movie came out, it's kind of similar. We shot this before, it just, before that movie, and I saw some of it.
Okay.
It's wildly dissimilar from what they did, but it was ostensibly this kind of, you know, disjointed family drama, kind of disguised as spy movie, action movie, and so on. And I did my thing, and I waited around for 2 years, and they cycled through various filmmakers and so on, and it kind of finally landed in my lap, which I was really excited about, because I am of the opinion, dude, that like this idea that I have to be of a certain culture, I have to be from this, or I have to be from that, in order to kind of to direct a film with black actors, African American actors,
Hmm.
Omar, Senegalese, French, like I
Yeah.
just find that so incredibly limiting and unnecessarily inhibiting on the process. And I grew up at the edge of the North Bay in San Francisco when I was in my teenage years, and it was all my friends were. It was kind of the most wonderfully ethnically rambunctious group of like
Yeah.
individuals. So that culture and all these things, it's like, to me, that's what makes this country truly who we actually are. Not this bullshit that's out there, not this performative jingoistic nonsense, but who we really are. So I guess it was such a great thrill for me to be able to work with someone like Divine, who I wrote that role for Divine before she won the Oscar. And I'd seen her in Craig Brewer's in My Name is Dolomite. I just thought she was wonderful. And she was really the only one I actually physically wrote a role for. And then you
That's
got
cool.
Cliff, Method Man and Mark and Jaleel Kamara, who's the little kid in this, who's just a revelation, man. He's just so great. And it's one of those things, dude. It's like, it's a very kind of simple conceit, a very simple premise. And then I got to put a bunch of Lionel Richie music in it, and Commodores and all this great stuff.
That's
All
that's awesome.
junior high slow dance music is in this movie. Yeah, it was, and dude, all credit to Lionsgate for kind of, deciding, hey man, we're gonna go big
I love
theatrical
that.
and take a swing. And I think that's fantastic. They
Yeah,
should,
instead of doing the streaming thing.
yeah, man, they should be lauded and they should be celebrated for that because that's guts. In this day and age, brother, that's a tough, listen, the hope is, especially with Minecraft, and that people
Yeah, for
still,
sure.
the communal sensation and the experience of going and sitting in a dark place with strangers and enjoying something together and laughing and crying and cheering and so on. So
Well, I think it's really interesting, because I kind of resonate a bit what you're going through. I got brought onto a project that was in the black demographic with a black producer. I got brought on to write it. It's called Dark Deception. It's a streaming original on Tubi. And so when I wrote that, I mean, one of my first things like I'm a white guy. Is this okay? I want to make sure that, I'm
yeah,
representing community and everything. And they're
yeah,
like, no, let's do this thing. They believed in me.
that's great, brother. And by the way, that's to me, that's the great measure of the business is, can you do all these things? And the thing is, dude, I never had I understood absolutely the DEI imperative. I got it, right? But I had somebody ask me a couple years
Uh-huh.
ago, my first film, which is a little tiny movie, Blood, Guts, Bullets, and Octane, I took to Sundance like 30 years ago, whatever the hell it was. Somebody had asked me a couple years, kind of at the height of when we were a little too, overly sensitive about these types of things. They said, was it strange for you? Because Ken Rudolph, who's my friend, who's a black African American man, was a reporter at this news station I worked at, had this incredibly authoritative kind of stereo voice I loved and understood how to read really this chunks of exposition dialogue. And so he played the FBI guy, and they were acting as though it was George Romero putting, like in Night of the Living Dead, like, guys, this is 1998. It's not 1960. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, I just thought that we got
That's
so
funny.
far afield from, wait a minute, this is not, I've always, whether it was Smokin Aces or Narc, or I've never, not, I wrote this thing, Death Threat, that I want to make that's kind of a black version of The Firm. And they're like, well, what about if we get this white actor? It's not as interesting.
Interesting.
It's not as cool, And so, no, I don't want to do that. It's like,
Yeah.
and so I guess you're right, dude. It's like, I
Yeah.
don't like this. I've never liked it because I've never felt like, the white guy that doesn't get it, which is what pisses me off. You know what I mean? It's like, it's and I think
Yeah.
it got
I get it.
in the generalization, dude. There's always a danger, brother, when you overly generalize these things and you say that's off limits or this off limits. My mother had Curtis Mayfield's very first album, right? There's a song in there, Jeffrey, called We People Who Are Darker Than Blue. It's about being black. I have known the lyrics to that song since I can remember memorizing lyrics, right? I'm not gonna enjoy that song because it is where that doesn't belong to you. When the fuck did we become something other than the United States? You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that shit. I think it's
Yeah.
productive. I think it's destructive. I think it shrinks bridges and means of communication and discussion. And I think we are so, dude, we are so polarized. It's almost like we like the polarization. You got to be way over here, way over here.
Yeah.
In the reality, dude, I would say this: I'm a centrist in a place with no center. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
That's like the world I'm living in. I hear
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
I know. And it's like, guys, I hope we're going to get back to this idea of it's okay, man. It's if you're a human being and you could tell stories about other human beings and they can be black, they can be brown, they could be Asian. It's like they could be any number of things and it's okay. That would be a lovely thing to reclaim because we did do it and we did quite well. I think maybe, I don't know. Some may
It looks
disagree.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I listen,
The
dude.
film looks amazing.
Yeah, brother. Listen. I just working with those guys, working with Omar, and work with Carrie, and working with these really lovely people in Colombia, and that culture, and that, and then just the
Wow.
shadows, like, like Crondon and Italia Reyes and Janelle and Sala Baker. You had people from all over the world in that
For
movie.
sure.
Marshall Cook, Ed Quinn, who plays the president on the Oval. Like, it was just a joy, man. And we had so much fun, dude. Yeah, I mean, brother, just imagine, Jeff, we get on a boat to go to set on a speedboat, and I'm playing the Johnny Quest theme.
Oh, that's fantastic.
On the boat, my son was with me. I go, bud, you'll never experience this again. Just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Just enjoy the ride. It's like,
So it was a fun set then.
Oh yeah, man. And it's so infrequently, dude. Listen, I like to have a. I don't believe that we're in the salt mines of Siberia and we have to yell and scream and demean
Right.
and denigrate. I refuse, dude. I refuse to behave that way. I won't. I won't tolerate people behaving that way. We're here to make it joyful. And by the way, in that joy, you're always going to get people's best work. I believe that inherently, dude. I really do. In that happiness and in that acceptance and in that availability, you're going to get people's best work.
That's incredible. I mean, because I mean, I look at like Smokin Aces, Narc, The Gray. I mean, these are some, Smokin Aces is fun. Narc, The
Yeah.
Gray. These are some serious films.
Right.
And to have that kind of, hey, let's have some fun while we do this thing, I think is great.
I mean, dude, because the thing is, brother, I am exceedingly aware of how fortunate I am, especially, dude. And you know this, dude. We all know this. At this time and place in this business, which is so ephemeral and so precarious and perilous, and you're like, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be, like, even with honestly,
For
Trevor,
sure.
I was a very low bar of expectation for me. I simply wanted to be on the it's okay to hire this asshole list. That
That's
was it.
hilarious.
That was it. Just can I still find gainful employment in the film and television business? That's it. Do I have to go back to moving furniture? I could do that. I don't want
It's
to, but
so
I can do
funny.
that. So it's like and then you work with someone you work with you know, Ben Affleck and you work with Matt Damon. Damon, who's just, I mean, dude, I can't say enough about that. That man's just an angel. Like, sits there for 12 hours and then does hand inserts for me for an hour when he could just go home.
Wow.
No, man, we're here and telling the greatest stories about Gene Hackman and Jack Nicholson. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, they pay
That's
me
amazing.
to do this stuff. So I think we have to remind ourselves, I certainly do, how unbelievably lucky and fortunate I am. Because I'm going to tell you something, dude. I know guys who I think can wipe the floor with me in terms of talent, in terms of their writing ability. And it just, for whatever reason, dude, it's like, they don't have that and they can't get that. And it's really unfortunate. And so I always say to myself, dude, hey, as long as I'm still here and I can do this, I'll take it.
I'm with you. I'm definitely on the gainful employment perspective here, and when it comes on to writing characters like you've written, and when you start worrying about representation like that, and one of the producers told me is like just focus on the character and everything else was come. That's what I did, and it's absolutely true. I mean, we are the writers. So getting Omar Sy, Kerry Washington, Mark Strong, were they already attached, or were you in there with the casting process?
They were no, Carrie was attached. Then Sterling K. Brown, who I loved and met, he was going to do it for a while, and then he stepped away.
Yeah,
And then Omar got involved, and then from there, it just kind of in this wonderful kind of snowball way, we put that really wonderful casting. I've been wanting to work with Mark Strong for forever.
man, he's great.
If you've never seen
The
him,
best villains,
that
unfortunately.
his that Pinbaker character he played in was it Sunshine for Danny Boyle, the which is a really underrated Danny Boyle film. He is terrifying in that film. But he's also like Mark's so good, like Zero Dark 30, right? It's like
Mhm.
he's got he's just such a and again, another guy you could sit with and drink, gin and Campari on the beach and just hear the greatest stories about his life and his career and being in a theater with British the heavyweights of the
Yeah,
British.
sure.
It's just dude, again, it's like uh and again, when it works, man, and that's the great thing, when it works, when you get this kind of chemistry and you get people uh that interact and just kind of understand. I mean, Geoffrey, we shot a gunfight on an island, Mance, all by itself, this one house on a little island, and shot the whole gunfight in the middle of the coast off the coast of Cartagena in Colombia with no all practical effects.
It sounds awful. Sounds like a terrible
It was
job.
terrible. It was terrible, and it was amazing, dude. And like, but again, the way you used to make movies, right? You went wherever it took
Yeah.
place into that place, and you shot your movie.
Yeah.
And there's another thing I'd love to get back to, dude. Again, this is I don't know, this is probably a pretty clumsy segue, but like the idea of hopefully bringing business back to Los Angeles. Getting the tax rebate, getting the money to keep because, brother, I was on the Paramount lot the other day, with sound check for a mix. And when I tell you there's no one there. There is no
Really?
one on that lot. Man. Disney giving up Fox Studios. I'm like, what? are we doing? Like,
Wow.
this is the town, man. This is Tinseltown. It's Hollywood. This is
Yeah.
the movie capital of the world. Like, what are we doing? It's like, I just don't get it, and we have to do better. And I'm hoping we can. I'm hoping we can, and not everything's just gonna go to Australia and London, it's like Sydney or
Yeah,
London,
sure. I mean,
So
that kinda reminds me of the car industry. Yeah, I mean, I'm over here in Detroit, and,
there you go, dude.
we were the motor city capital of the world, and then just over a few decades, it just went, everywhere else but here.
Remember when Michigan had that tremendous tax incentive, and suddenly all these old UAW guys were like grips,
Man, we were so excited for that.
built out this insanely
We
talented
did.
film base in Detroit, and then
Yeah.
somebody along goes, "Nah, no more." That's
Yeah,
that.
dried up overnight. Yeah, that was a different governor came in and just shot it down.
And it was 43%, and I think if you'd gone down to 35, Detroit was Michigan still would have been cranking.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, dude. It's like that was, it's like I always think of Detroit as, it's like the great American city that never was. Like Chicago, kind of, like Pittsburgh figured out its second act after the foundries
Yeah.
closed, steel mills shut down. They figured out their other, and it was like being a kid in Detroit, like Belle Isle, like going to Detroit. It was like, going to a Tiger game and keeping my hand in my dad's wallet as we walked through the crowd. So it's like for pickpockets, it was like it's a different time, but it's like I feel like it had it, and you get politicians in there that want to politic
Yeah.
and and be performative and do their thing, and you lose these tremendous opportunities. It's a bummer.
Well, the one thing I'll say about Detroit, though, is it keeps getting reborn, which I have faith in.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping we're starting to see growth again. Okay, so Shadow Force comes out May 2nd theatrically. Congratulations on that. And before I let you go,
it's May 9th, brother, which is my birthday. So you
oh,
got
it's May 9th. I'm so sorry. So May 9th.
they
All
just
right.
changed. It's all good. It's all good.
And before I let you go, just because you're fountain of wisdom here, what kind of advice do you have for young and upcoming filmmakers?
I think, brother, more than ever, you have got to be able to. It's not enough to be a one or two tool guy. You got to be a five tool guy. You got to. I use a sports analogy. You got to
Okay.
hit, pitch, catch, run, field. You got to be able to do all these things because of. I mean, when I was coming up, dude, just the iPhone I'm holding in my hand. You know what I've given to have shot short films when I was 20, 21, 22 years old on something with that potential technology. I shoot short films with my little girls that are 100 times more technically advanced than the short films I made in college. So I
That's cool.
think I think doing that, I think obviously, listen, there's this big push toward content creation and YouTube and so on and so forth. And here's the thing, brother, you got to go where the soil is fertile, where they're growing grapes. And right now they're growing grapes in that. And so even if you don't, it's not your thing, figure it out, have those answers and have those experiences and go in there and wade into those waters. And because I think to just say, well, I can't do that, or I'm not good at this, or it's not good enough anymore, man. They want the reason, brother, I think guys like you and I can work is because you want like the mechanics that can work on a rotary engine, work on a slant six, and I can't, right? It's like, no, what do you got? What do you got? I've been under every hood. I get it. Conversely, if you're young and upcoming, I just feel like you got to be able to do it all, man. Understand visual effects, understand
Yeah,
writing, so that you're not. And also, if you're an actor, have your own means to go out instead of queuing up and waving. Hey, can you pick me? You can actually you can manifest these things because I think
I like
anything
that.
else is going to be like, listen, work as hard as you can across as broad array of this business as you can, and be like, like Fincher. Fincher knows everybody's job. He knows what makes you good at that job. He knows how to, you know what I mean? There's a precision there. And I think that that's necessary right now, dude. A precision and this kind of wide spectrum of an understanding. That's my advice, for what it's worth.
It's absolutely incredible advice. Thank you so much, Joe. I really,
My
really
pleasure, man.
appreciate you having on this show.
Man, Mike, come on, dude. Thanks. I'll come back anytime.